Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. Later in the show, we'll chat with Lizz Rivera, permanent makeup artist and the CEO and owner of NINK Magazine.
I'm Susan Levy, and with us today is Deanna So. She's a third-generation Navajo potter, and she'll be on the new three-part PBS Nova series, Building Stuff, which premieres on Wednesday, November 27th. Make sure you check your local listings. And Deanna, welcome to Native Talk Arizona. I am super excited to hear about your pottery and all about the new Nova series. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to do this.
So before we get started, please tell us about yourself, your journey, and your background.
Well, I come from the Navajo tribe, and I live in Tuba City, Arizona, and I live on the reservation. Yes, I do pottery, and most of my family, we do pottery. My mother taught herself how to do pottery. Her mother passed away while she was 6 or 8 years old, and she found out by another aunt of mine that her mother used to do pottery. She took her out, way out in the boondocks where she used to work on pottery. More or less it looked like a cave, and you can see where she fired the potteries. And when we first went over there, you could see potteries that were made, and my mom kept them there, pots that she used to cook out of there. But somebody went over there and took them, and they're not there anymore. But the reason why I'm telling you the story is that's when my mom decided to learn how to make pottery. That was her decision. And she just went around asking questions, how do you do this, how do you do that? And she more or less taught her how to do pottery. Plus, my father's mother knew how to do pottery. His side of the family, and they help here and there, try to teach her. And eventually, as kids, we learn how to make pottery.
So
traditional Navajo pottery. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Excuse me. I apologize. So I also do some pottery on the side. Do you throw pottery on a wheel, or are these hand-built vessels?
These are just hand-built pottery.
Okay.
I never took ceramics. There's quite a few people told me you should take ceramics. You'll get more ideas, different techniques and stuff. But I figured this is the old-fashioned way the Navajos do it. I do it the same way. Their belief is you're not supposed to sit there and make pottery in front of other people, just in case they have bad vibes. So we usually hide out in the back and work on it. We believe that if somebody comes in and they have bad negativity, it will crack your pottery, destroy your pottery in one way or another. And I have done classes. I did teach at Coconino Community College before and different schools around the reservations. And my mother always said, there's a certain person, I don't know why, I was told they can't make pottery. They can make it and do it good, but at the end, it will just flop down. And they can try and try. And all the classes I taught, there's only one person I've seen. I don't know if she ever took ceramics class, but once she built it up really good and really nice looking. It's more or less like she slapped the whole thing together. It was sitting there really nice. And a few minutes later, the whole thing just collapsed down, shriveled down. And I thought, and she kept making it, doing it over and over, and the same thing would happen. I felt sorry for her. Poor thing, she was crying. And I've only seen one person do that before with all the potteries I taught. So that was interesting. So I just figured that's what my mom was talking about. It just won't work for some certain people.
That's true. Mine fall pretty often. But I did want to ask you, what role does pottery play in the Navajo culture historically and then also today?
More or less, we use way back in the day. They used them for cooking. We could cook out of our potteries. More or less in weddings, different types of ceremonies. We use them in ceremonies for cooking, to drink herbs out of them. We make pipes so we can pray and smoke out of the pipes, or they use them during certain ceremonies. Most times we cook out of them to make different herbs that has to pertain to the ceremony. We make whatever, like cornmeal. We would make cornmeal, and then we put it in a wedding basket, and then that will be taken into the hogan. And during the ceremony, everybody would take part and take some of the cornmeal and eat it. And then wedding base, it's just they just put water in it, and we take it into the hogan during the wedding. And all the bride and groom does is they wash their hands from the water. And the purpose of washing your hand is to, what I was told, is you wash away the past. Anything negative that happened, conflict, you wash that away. And after the wedding, it's not supposed to be brought back out and talk about. So it's just more or less all the negativity is left in the past. That's why we wash our hands.
That seems like a good way to start a marriage, right?
Yeah. Yes.
All the negativity in the past and don't bring it up again. All right. That's a good message. Why is pottery such a meaningful art form for the community?
Mainly ceremonies, and just to keep it in their house, just for decorations. And then the pipes. That's the main thing I sell here on the reservation is pipes. A lot of people, they still smoke out of the pipe, and at the same time they pray while they're smoking. So that's the main one I noticed. The ceremonies, it depends on what type of ceremony is. There's certain ceremonies that only take part of during the winter, and then certain ones during the summer. So that's how I know. So winter's coming out. I need to make some more of these and type of ceremonies, or for ceremonies, different type of pots. So that's the only thing I make the potteries for, is for ceremonial purpose to the Navajos. I don't take them to stores. I don't take them to museum and try to sell them. I just more or less concentrate on the ceremonies that people do.
Has the pottery making evolved since, like, when you said your mom made it, or your ancestors, to the way you make it, and then anybody else you've training or in your family? Have you changed any ways that you've been making pottery?
I have not changed mine.
Okay.
I have a nephew that gave me a kiln.
Oh.
Like I just said, other people said, take ceramics. I took ceramics. Won't you try this? Do it this way. I have not switched it. I have not changed it. I just figured this is the way I was taught, and this is the way I was taught by my mother, so I just saying that. But I have a sister that teaches. She took ceramics, My nephew took ceramics, and he does Navajo pottery. But my nephew more or less um, integrated both of them together. I don't know how or what he does. Like I say, I don't really. He lives 3 hours away. Just go out there once in a great while, and most of the time he's working on other stuff instead of. Yeah, he will be working on pottery here and there, but we don't really watch him. When he's doing that, we'll be doing other things. And then my sister does pottery, but not often because she teaches, and that takes a lot of her time.
Can you take me through the steps of making a traditional piece of Navajo pottery? I mean, what does the process look like from the beginning to the end? And where do you get the clay? Or so, like, how do you start? Do you just go out and go to a place where you find the clay? Or are you purchasing it, and then do you start with just like a ball of clay, and is it like a pinch pot? Or how do you do this?
Me, I know of 3 different clays that my mother showed me, and those are the 3 different places I go. That one clay is gray clay. It's up in the mountain. That one's really tough to dig out. We have to use a pit. Really use a pit and go after it. Pound and pound. And we get clay from there. And then another one's about a half an hour from here, and that's yellow clay. And that I use a shovel and just dig it out. And then another one's white clay. That I don't use a pit. I just use a shovel too. And usually, just so I won't on the yellow and white clay, I don't bring home with trash. I usually pound on it there to make it softer and just sift it through so I can just bring it home and use them. And out of the gray clay is usually the dirtiest and the hardest, and a lot of trash, meaning rock sticks in it, and have to go through it slowly to clean it. Once I clean them, I usually grind the gray clay and then mix that one with the yellow clay. I don't go out to get the white clay as much as because it's further out. It's about 3 hour drive from here. That only if I'm out that direction, and if I have the time, I will get the white clay. But mainly, I use the gray clay and the yellow clay, and I mix them together. And once I mix it, I mix it to mix it up like dough. I mix it with gravel. We have to grind the gravel they use to make the road, lava gravel. I mix it with that, and then once the clay is done, my mom used to call them coil pots because we roll them up in coil and build them up, like you said, the pinch pots, and we just shape them out like that. I don't know. To me, if you make it yourself, I always know where it's lopsided or where it's dent in a little. But other people tells me you make them perfect, which I know nobody can make them perfect unless if you use a wheel, I would think. I'm not sure. I never seen anybody use a wheel too, so I don't know how the wheel works. And then after we make them, we polish them with river stones. We just polish them once they dry out, and then after they dry out, we have to heat them up slowly. If we put them into the fire real quick, they'll just start busting and they'll break apart. Once that's completed, once they go through the firing process, usually I bring them into the house clean them, wash them, stick them into the oven. From the oven, I usually heat the temperature up to 380 to 400, depending on the day. And we use pinion sack. We also go out and collect the pinion sack off pinion trees, those little sticky things that stick on the tree. And we collect those. And then that, we have to warm it up slowly, because if we heat it up too fast, it can catch on fire. And then we just sift it through a strainer to get the liquid and the trash, the stems and stuff out. And then it comes out nice and clear. So the pottery and the sap, both of them has to be hot. And we just put them on, and I use wax paper to smooth the wax around the pottery. And once that's done, I just stick it in cold water to cool it down really quick. And that's when it's sitting in water, it also tells me it was fired good, because there's certain potteries, especially the ones in the middle. Once in a great while, I'll have one that falls apart in the water that's telling me that one didn't fire so good. But that's just once in a great while, like once every 3 years I'll get a piece like that. But other than that, when the picture's on there, when it's done, it means the pottery's completed.
Well, your process sounds a lot better than mine, and obviously you're much better at it than I am. So I saw pictures of your art, of your work, and it is beautiful and very impressive, and it obviously takes a lot of time and effort. So I hope to incorporate some of your ideas into the work that I do. But in terms of Nova's building stuff, the new series Change It, the episode dives into the science behind art. You did talk about the clay and where you're getting it, but is there anything unique about the shape that determines the outcome of the piece?
They wanted the cone shape down at the bottom, and I told them we can make it. I can make it, because the traditional way back when our ancestors used to make it, they used to make them cone shape, the bottom part, since they cook food out of it. Back then, there's no gas stove or whatever. They build a fire outside and just stick it down into the charcoal ground so it can hold up, stand up straight. So that was one of the main things they wanted, was the traditional cone-shaped type. And I was also asked if I can make a pipe that was cone-shaped. And I remember telling them, that's our traditional Navajo pipe. That's how our pipes look like from beginning, before we saw modern day pipes, and then our shapes started changing. So, and a lot of medicine men, they still use the cone-shaped pipe in their prayers while they're singing. The patient will be smoking. And a lot of these days, Navajos don't know the purpose of the cone-shaped pipe. They come over here and look at my stuff, and they'll see one of that pipe, and they'll pick it up. I never seen a pipe like this. And then you explain to them, that's the traditional Navajo pipe. That's how our pipes look, before we saw modern pipes. And they get interested in it. And another thing is, our traditional beliefs, a lot of it, the way I see it, a lot of it's phasing out these days. We have less medicine men that the real traditional Navajos had. And it's sad. And that's one thing our family's trying to hold on to. And I'm happy with the parents we had pushed us in that route. I had an older brother that my oldest brother learned how to make Navajo moccasin. They found somebody to teach him, and they paid that person. I learned how to do Navajo sash belt, and then a brother knew how to do silversmith learned how. And then another one learned how to weave. And we all learned different things. But it seems like me, these days, if I set up a loom to do a sash belt, which I was taught when I was younger, I won't remember how to do it. But we all know how to do the pottery and traditional way. My parents really pushed a traditional faith and belief in us, installed it in us. That I have a nephew and a brother that became a medicine man, traditional Navajo medicine man. I say traditional because a lot of them has, I hate to say this, brought in peyote ceremony. And it seems like it's starting to mix in with everything now. In a way, I am happy that my mother or both of my parents installed the traditional ways in us, how to do things around, how to make the native traditional food, try to teach us, install in us the different traditional basket making. I had a sister, though, my oldest sister knew how to, she learned how to make the Navajo basket. And I think they were trying to install everything in us. It's just me and my younger sister didn't stick with the plan. We didn't go on, once we were taught, we didn't go on making them. But my oldest sister was making the basket until she passed away. But at the same time, we all were making pottery too.
You've obviously gone ahead and done a lot with your pottery. How was the collaboration with the scientists David Sala and Stetson Rolls, as shown in the new Nova Science series, Building Stuff? Did you enjoy collaborating and working with them?
Yeah, it was. Later on, I found out about the sap. The sap's the one they use to, they did the scientific work on it, and they found out that it kills a lot of bacteria.
I read that. That is like amazing that, so by using that, it filters the water, correct?
Yes, it filters the water, yes.
And they're looking at hopefully replicating that and using that in other parts to clean the water. Is that was sort of how I had gotten out of it. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Another thing they started now is they bring other different samples. I don't ask what it is. We mix it in with the sap, and then I would glaze the pottery, and they would take it back to their lab and test it. And what they're trying to do is get something to kill the uranium out of water.
That's what an amazing find, though. Using that sap, that it can take that out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You know, something traditional.
We use sap for sores. It's been way back. Our ancestors used them. If you get a big old blob of sore on your arm, hand, neck, anywhere, they'll put the sap on there and wrap it. And they'll keep it on there for about a week, and then afterwards they'll take it off, and they'll take that whole sore off. They'll clean it too.
But Deanna, it's so amazing that the traditional and that the sap, and it, when it's glazed and it filters the water and keeps out the harmful ingredients, chemicals. I mean, I think that's amazing. Have you enjoyed learning and being part of this program?
Yes, it was fun. It was fun, real fun. I remember the first time Stanton and Devon, I can't say his name.
Oh, David and Stetson?
Anyway, yes, Yep. When they came, I was told they wanted to use the clay, turn it into some kind of pipe, and they were going to go to Africa and run them through for running water. And then the second time I've seen them, they said they finished that project and it was a success. the clay and the sap both together. Apparently, they used it out there.
I mean, that must make you feel so amazing that the work that you're doing is impacting the entire world.
It feels good, but I want something out here to help the Navajo Nation, the reservation.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. But I mean, maybe that will help with a lot of, filtering the water on the Navajo Nation. But what a great project. I think that's just amazing that you're part of that. So is there anything else that you'd like our listeners to know about this project? I know it's going to be airing soon. So again, it's the Nova Science Series Building Stuff, and it's Deanna So and her pottery with the traditional sap and the traditional pottery. Anything that you've got coming up or that you want anybody to know how they can find you?
I used to sell at Gallup Flea Market on a Saturday at a flea market. I did good out there, but once I retired, I just stay home. But there's quite a few people that has my phone number, and they stop by. Even through Facebook, they'll message me and order pottery. And I'm okay with that, and I get quite a few orders through that.
So, Deanna,
Facebook.
what's your Facebook? What's your name on Facebook?
Deanna So.
Oh, it's Deanna So. Okay, so they can find you through that. Yeah. And then are you okay with giving out your phone number, or do you want them just to find you on Facebook?
Just find me on Facebook.
Okay, cool. We'll go with that. It has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, learning about the 3 different types of clay, how you make it, how you glaze it, and the amazing things that you've done with it, and the water filtration. And again, it's a 3-part PBS Nova Series Building Stuff, which premieres Wednesday, November 27th. Check your local listings. Make sure you look at Deanna So's pottery. Check it out. You can also find her on Facebook if you'd like to order any. And I think this has been so amazing and interesting, and the impact that it could have on the Navajo Nation and across the world for water filtration. So congratulations on this, and can't wait to see it and see your pottery.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was exciting.
Coming up next on Native Talk Arizona, we'll chat with Lizz Rivera, CEO and owner of NINK Magazine. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org.
I've been waiting for some wings to take me up to bigger things. I've been waiting for some time to close my eyes and free my mind, and I'll wait for my wings tonight. I've been crying in the rain, washing away all the bitter games. I've been singing with the wind. It takes some time to heal everything. I'll wait for my wings tonight. Just close my eyes and free my mind. I'm not afraid to take the flight. I'll fly like all the eagles fly.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy, and with us today is Lizz Rivera, and she's a permanent makeup artist and the CEO and owner of NINK Magazine, which stands for Natives in Ink, bringing the latest news and designs from tattoo artists and designers across Indian country. Liz, welcome, and I can't wait to learn more about what you do and hearing more about NINK. So welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started and all of that.
Well, my name is Lizz Rivera. I'm a member of the Bear River Band of Ronerville Rancheria in Northern California. I started permanent makeup 8 years ago in this area for my own personal vain reasons. You know, I didn't have eyebrows and I needed to make sure that I had them. So I needed to bring that service to this area. And so that's initially why I started. After that, it grew. I started doing eyeliner, lips, you know, the whole face. Learned a lot about skin and the differences in skin from the face and the body, and the differences in tattooing and the differences in the techniques and the impact on the skin and all of those things. So I don't know, that just branched out into other areas of where I wanted to find knowledge, get knowledge. I own a salon in Northern California, and that's my day job. NINK Magazine came about 10 years ago and was an idea presented to me by a friend. His name is James Morales, and he just wanted to see where I would go with it. And over the years, you know, it was just something that I did in my free time. And a couple years after, he gifted the magazine to me and made me the owner, the sole owner. And so from that point, I took my knowledge of tattooing and tattoo artists and sobriety, because I was still early in my sobriety, and how Native and Indigenous people use art and expression, tattooing especially, in their healing journeys, and how I was using it in mine. And so Natives in Ink is a reflection of that, of promoting and uplifting and sharing people's journeys, you know, not specific to any tribe, but all Indigenous nations, you know, Canada, South America, Australia. You know, I've had Filipino traditional tattooing in there. So, you know, just a broad area of people contributing, you know, to this movement, I guess, of just healing through art.
So you mentioned you're a permanent makeup artist. Is there a difference between a permanent makeup artist and forgive me because I don't know anything about this field, a permanent makeup artist and like a tattoo artist? Are they the same, different? They're interchangeable?
There's a huge debate on this. This is my opinion. This is how I see it. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong or whatever, because there is a huge debate on this, and this is just how I feel about it. Tattooing is completely different than permanent makeup, because the skin on the face is completely different than the skin on the body. It's thinner, it sheds faster. There's parts of the face that are thinner, sun exposure, your diet, your hydration, all of those things affect how the permanent makeup is going to heal and how long it's going to last. On a tattoo, the ink goes into the, I can't even think of what the layer of the skin is, but it goes deeper than permanent makeup, and it's done in a different fashion. The technique is totally different also. So in my opinion, they're totally different. You can learn one or the other by knowing one or the other because they're similar, but you also have to understand and know the skin. You have to know the body. You have to know metabolism. You have to understand those types of things. And you also have to understand beauty, because you can't draw just any eyebrows on any face and it's going to look good. You know, you have to know the bone structure, the muscles. All of those things tie into permanent makeup, where tattoos, it's not really the same.
Right. Well, that makes sense too. I mean,
Okay.
putting
Was
something.
that a long explanation?
No, it's perfect explanation, and I,
Okay.
I hadn't really thought of it like that. But in terms of tattoos, are there different types of tattoos? I mean, in terms of the technical aspect, not the artistry behind it, or is it just one type?
The way a lot of what I'm seeing now is a lot of hand poke techniques are coming out. A lot of traditional tattooing with different tribes are coming out, and it's not all the same with skin stitching and hand poke and the traditional coil machine, and then the pen, the rotary. It looks like a pen. All of those things create different types of lines and marks in the body, and they're done differently for specific reasons. They
sound painful.
The markings I have. I'm sorry.
They sound painful. No.
Parts of the body are.
Okay.
Parts of the body are. Some aren't. Some are ticklish. Some are, you go numb really fast because the skin is like, what the heck is going on? And it's like a defense mechanism. So it'll like shut down the nerves, and you won't really feel it. So the armpits are pretty sensitive.
Okay.
In between the neck, under the chin, the ears aren't too bad. My face wasn't too bad. It just depends, I guess, on your pain tolerance and the specific reason you're getting it. I got the one on my neck in honor of my father, and he was going through open heart surgery at the time. So my mind was there. It was with him, and my heart was with him, so I didn't feel it. So when people ask me, did it hurt? And I say no, they look at me like I'm crazy, like I'm a psychopath. And but when you're in that state and you're tuning it out and you're getting it for a specific reason that means a lot to you, you don't really feel the pain. It's like when you give birth to your baby, you don't remember the pain after you're holding the child in your arms.
That's true.
So
and then you're ready to do it again.
Yeah, 6 times.
So I know you're doing permanent makeup now. Do you focus, and obviously eyebrows and things like that, you're not using indigenous designs, but do you see sort of, I don't know if this would apply to you so much as maybe the magazine or a tattoo artist, do you see an increase in individuals requesting like indigenous designs in their tattoos? Or more interest in it?
I do, and it's so amazing. I see so many more tattoo artists that are incorporating their own designs that they've been gifted, that they come up with, that, and that's their thing, and everyone goes to them for those designs that mean something, specific to them, and that kind of thing I'm seeing more of that. I'm seeing more people walking around with indigenous designs, that are more intricate and detailed and represent so many more different tribes from across the nation. It's really amazing to see. I was telling a friend of mine that now it seems like the younger generation, they want to be seen. They want to learn their culture. They want to learn their language, and they're willing to put in the footwork. They're willing to put in the hours to learn it, whereas my generation, I'm 48 right now, and we didn't want to be seen. Even now it's hard to get artists my age to contribute content for the magazine because they don't, they feel like being seen means they're not being humble. And I want these people to be seen because their art is so beautiful, and they pass all the time. They're like, no, I'm okay. But now, younger generations, my kids included, their art, has, it's Native inspired, and it's something that they feel. It's not something that they see. It's something that they're putting in, on paper that they're feeling.
What's the process for somebody wanting to get a tattoo? So like if you're thinking about it, I assume you need an appointment. Sorry, I know nothing about this and I don't have a tattoo. I'd like to get one though. I would like to get one. So, do you like look at people's work online, or do you go in and have an appointment first, or do you call them and say, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing like a spot on my foot, like 2x2." What's the process? And then, is it repeated appointments? Is it a 1 hour appointment? How does it all work?
Are you asking for tattoos specifically, or what my process is?
Okay, we'll ask about your process. Let's talk about that. The permanent makeup, since that's what you specialize in. So same thing. If I was to come in and do that,
I could talk about either. Is why I'm asking.
No, I mean it's just for people that don't know.
I guess the process is very similar. If you're going to look for somebody's art that you like. First of all, look for someone's art that you like. Don't go to some random artist with some intricate art piece that's, detailed and different, and expect them to be a copy machine and be able to put it on your skin. It doesn't work like that. Not everybody's art style is the same. So find somebody's art style that you like, and then do your research. How many years experience do they have? Where do they work out of? Are they going to draw the design for you? Are you going to give them your own design? Are they going to place it in a place that is going to look good? Or is it going to look funky when you're standing up or when you're walking or on your back? And all of those things matter. Is it really detailed and you want it really small? Because that's not going to be good either. There's so many things. But your tattoo artist should be able to answer these questions for you patiently, for one, and intelligently. Answer with integrity, answer the questions. There's a lot of artists that I've seen that are just rude, and that's not okay. So make sure that you have maybe a consultation, or you talk to the artist, because if you're gonna be sitting there for hours and you're not vibing well with this person, or they talk in a manner that you don't like, or listen to music that isn't soothing for you, all of these things matter. So, just do a little bit of research. And if your artist says that's too small, don't get it there, listen to them. Because in 10 years, you're going to be like, why didn't I listen? It looks like crap. So.
Those are good tips. Things I probably wouldn't have thought of. So those are good tips. So, you sort of alluded to it before. So how's your background, both professionally and culturally, influenced your growth as a permanent makeup artist and a magazine publisher? You sort of talked about it. I'm not sure if you want to add anything to that.
I don't think so. Right now, my family my grandmother grew up in a boarding school, so we didn't learn very much about our culture. It wasn't until recently that I started getting into ceremony and making my regalia and really incorporating spirituality and tradition into my life, my culture into my life, because before I was just living my life, being sober and just doing what I needed to do on a daily basis. Now I needed that grounding. I needed my culture. I needed to be brought back. So I used that, especially with the magazine, to try to encourage people to be sober, to encourage people to look back into their culture, into their languages, into their art, basket weaving, beading, painting, the songs, the stories, the dances. All of those things are culture. And sharing all of those things in the magazine brings healing. Because no matter what your story is, if you see something in print or you see it online and it speaks to you, even if you don't know that person, it does something. It touches your heart and it brings you healing in some type of way. And that's the message I'm trying to spread. That's what I'm trying to do. And isn't that what culture is? Isn't that what our people do? You know?
True. I mean, and what you're saying makes total sense. And healing and culture, identity, connecting. So, okay.
Well, when we know who we are, and we have these marks on our bodies, like when the marks on my chin, I saw them. I'm going to call it a vision. I saw myself with them, and so I drew them on a little napkin, and I waited. 2 years later, I saw one of the artists that I published in like the second or third magazine, and he does the traditional hand poke designs. His name is Nahan. I saw him at a tattoo convention, and he's the one who did the design on my chin. I went to Texas, and I was having breakfast, and the waitress there, she was like almost in tears, and she said, I haven't seen those markings in years. She was from Alaska, and it brought her back home, you know, even if it was just for a little while, just seeing me with them. And that, it's amazing, you know, having these marks on our bodies, and we carry that, and that's who we identify with. We know who we are, and that brings us strength. And we can carry that somewhere else. That's power.
So you sort of just answered. I mean, and I guess that's why you do it, right? I mean, look at your story from her from Alaska and identifying with you and important. But I mean, that's memorable. And I guess being a business owner, an Indigenous business owner, that's what it's all about, right?
Right.
So do you have a favorite part of running a small business, whether it's your permanent makeup studio or NINK Magazine, or both?
My both of them. My favorite part now is I can make my own schedule and spend time with my grandkids, and that's my favorite part.
That's a good favorite part.
Well, I've worked hard for this. I've had my salon for 9 years. I've worked on NINK in my spare time for 10 years, you know, pushing out issues, and, you know, I worked for this, and knowing that I worked for this and that I raised my kids and they're in a good way and I get to spend time with my grandkids when I want to, I feel like that's winning. I'm winning in life.
Yep. And you're your own boss. How many issues of NINK Magazine have you published?
10. And 10 in the past year and past 10 years. And then we just did the 11th after we rebranded April of this year. So 11 issues total.
And how often do they come out?
They're pretty, they come out when I have time to publish them. It's just me, and I don't have a layout person anymore. And so I collect all the content, I contact all the people, I sort all the files, I do all the things, and I do that in my spare time when I'm not working in my shop and doing other things. So when I'm able to put enough content together for an issue, when I had someone doing the layout, I would send it all, and then it would get published. So I'm working on building a bigger team. So hopefully this will help.
Well, 11 issues, that is awesome. How can people find more information either about you, contact you, your work, or the magazine? How do they find, I guess let's start with how they reach you.
They can reach me at NINK Magazine.
Okay.
At gmail.com, or NINK Magazine on IG, TikTok, or Facebook. And
that's N as in Nancy, I, N as in Nancy, K, correct?
NINK.
Yep. Magazine. Yep. And, all right. And then, so NINK Magazine on Instagram. You said Facebook also?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we really appreciate you taking time, Liz. And I learned a lot. Now I guess I won't be so scared of getting a tattoo. sort of sounds painful, but thank you. And I think your work is beautiful. I did check it out. I did look at the magazine as well.
That.
And I think you are an incredible, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly or it's a compliment, but you are an incredible artist and really just amazing at what you do and talented. So thanks for coming on and telling us about your work and NINK Magazine. And hopefully our listeners will reach out to you and check it out.
Thank you so much. That's like making me tear up right now. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listentokrdp.com.